Alright guys, welcome back. In this video we are going to be building our get_target function. But before that, let's actually discuss some of the aspects of our interactive prompt. So whenever our shell, that is the turtle shell, will be started, it's going to give us this kind of a prompt, and then we need to type in a command. So the first command will be of list, that is going to call this function of list connections. And whenever we type in list, it's going to show us a list of all the clients that are connected to your computer. First is going to show their ID, then it's going to show their IP address, and then it's going to show their port. And this is going to happen for all the computers that are connected to our server. Now what if we want to connect to this, for example, let's say second computer that has an ID of 1. So that's pretty simple. Let me just actually copy and paste this over here. And to select this second computer, we just need to type in select 1. And this 1 is the ID of the second computer. And when we type in select 1, it's going to call our get_target function, and then it's going to get the connection, and then it will check whether the connection exists or not, and then we'll be able to send commands to that computer. So in a nutshell, you'll basically be able to see all the computers that are connected to the server, but you'll only be able to select one of them. And after selecting one of them, you can send command to that computer or control that computer remotely, whatever you want to do. But after selecting that computer, you can type something like quit or something, and which will take you back to our turtle prompt, and you can again type in list and connect to some other computer. So that's pretty much it for our interactive prompt. Let's get into making our get_target function. So let's create a function def get_target, and inside this we are getting the parameter of our command. So let me actually just add a comment also, selecting the target. Now whenever this get_target function is called, the command of select 1 is passed from over here to the actual function. Now what happens is that whenever we type in some command like select 1 or select 2, it goes to this else if condition, then it calls this function and passes the command, that is the select 1, to this function. And we get something like this, for example like select 1 in our CMD value. Now what we need to do is let me just press enter so that there is some space. So now what we need to do is that we need to rip off the select space portion, and we just need to use this ID number to get our connection. So what we are going to do is we are just going to replace this select space with just an empty string. So but before that, let's actually make a try and accept code so that if we get some kind of an error, we can't handle it in the accept portion. But in the try code, we are just going to make a variable of target, and we are going to store the ID inside this target. And we are just going to type in cmd.replace, and inside this we are just going to type in select space, and make sure to add a space over here, because whenever we type in the command, for example over here, there is a space after select. So if you don't type in a space, it won't work. And then we want this to be replaced with an empty string. So that is what we are going to do. So the target basically contains, the value of target is basically the ID. Now this ID that we have got is still in string format, so we first need to convert it into an integer. We can do that by typecasting. We can just type in int, and inside this we can just type in target, and this will convert our string target to our integer target. And now we can use this ID that is stored in this target variable to select a connection from our all connections list. So we can just type in conn, not double equal to, only single equal to, and then all connections. And inside this we are just going to type in target, and this is going to give us an object of a connection. Now we just need to return this connection, and voila, we'll be able to send commands to this connection. But before that, let's just print something out so that we know that the connection has been established. I'm just going to print out you are now connected to, and then the IP address. So I'm just first going to convert it to a string. Then I'm going to go to all addresses list, and inside this I want to select the target, and I want to get the IP address, so I'm going to put in 0. And after that I'm just going to print some more thing. So for example, when you are in your interactive shell, it gives you this prompt of turtle greater than. So how are we supposed to differentiate when we are in our interactive shell instead of our shell that we get when we are connected to our client or some kind of a victim? So for that, I'm just going to print something out, and then I'm going to explain it to you. So I'm just going to copy this from over here, put that, plus greater than sign, and then put a comma and end equal to empty. And let's format this properly. So yeah, so what this is going to print out is the IP address of the client and then the greater than sign. So for example, let's say the IP address of the client is 168.1.4 and then the greater than sign, and by this we will know that we are actually connected to our client and we are not in our interactive shell anymore. So if we type in list now, it won't work, so we'll need to type in something like dir or something like that. So we'll be able to basically control the computer that we are connected to. So this is the format that is going to be showing when you are connected to your computer. After this, we'll just type in accept function, so that for example, if there is an error of getting the target, it's going to go to this accept code, and inside this we can just type in selection not valid. So for example, if 3 computers are connected to the server and you type in something like select 13, it's not going to connect to that computer because the 13th computer doesn't exist. So it's going to get to this accept portion and it's just going to print out that selection not valid. Now if we go back to the place where we are actually calling our get target function, now we know that whenever this get underscore target function is called, we get an connection object back and we are storing that connection object in the connection variable, and then we are checking if it is not none, we are able to send commands to that client. But in our get targets function, we have actually not returned anything yet. So we'll just return over here, we'll just return the connection object if the try is successful, but if there is an error, we'll just return none. And then if you remember, in our start turtle function, we have checked if conn, that our connection variable, is not none. And if it is not none, then only we'll send commands to that computer. And if you're wondering what is the function of this end equals to double quote, what it does is whenever this kind of a prompt is there, if we execute any kind of a command, for example dir or something, it is going to change the line, but we don't want that because that is going to give us an error. So this end equals to double quote actually prevents the cursor from going to the next line. So guys, this is pretty much it for this video. In this video, we created our get underscore target function. In the next video, we are going to create a send underscore target commands function that will help us send commands to our remote computer, that is the client's computer. So I'll see you in the next video.